deal. In fact, I had something here. I did have something I would show you. Wait a minute. I don't know if you've seen this. I used it once. Oh, I have it. I do have it. Look at this. Look at this. So this is Tic Tacs, right? I don't know if I like the company. I've never met. I have no idea. They're so lucky. Look at all the television. This is the greatest commercial they ever had. But that's what happened. This is inflation. This is Tic Tac. This is Tic Tac. This is inflation. This is what's happened. I just happened to have, somebody gave me this one today. I said, I think we'll put it up as an example of inflation.
But we're going to go ahead and move into U.S. GDP. Dropped. Sank for the first time in 3 years. On the economic front, the new GDP data is in, and it's not looking too great. The U.S. economy shrank by 0.5% in Q1 of this year.
You know, the whole reason a lot of people were talking trash online and cussing you out because you're not with Trump, because they said that Trump is going to save the economy. Even though his first term, we lost jobs, we lost everything, the economy shrank, and he's to the same playbook. You know, somehow these people just ignore the outcome of the first term. It's the reason why we have a lot of this inflation, a lot of the things that we're seeing right now. First drop in 3 years, man. Wall Street is still partying, but working class people are feeling the pinch. Inflation is up, housing is a mess, and this report just confirms that economic growth isn't reaching the people who need it.
It hurts my pride to post this video, but I am freaking out about money today. I absolutely know that I'm not alone. I know that a lot of the people who voted for Trump did it because they thought that he was going to lower the cost of living, and very much the opposite has happened. And when the budget bill passes, because it's probably going to, probably a 98% chance they will find a way to pass it. Even if you're not on Medicare or Medicaid, which I'm not, I have health insurance through my company, it's likely that our health insurance premiums are going to go up. And the Fed is saying that they're not going to cut interest rates anytime soon. So we are literally backed into a corner where many people are now financing their groceries. They're putting like sandwiches on layaway, bitch. I'm a lucky person who is at least living slightly above paycheck to paycheck, but I have a bunch of credit card debt that I don't know if I'm ever going to get out of. And again, it feels like shit to admit that on a public platform, but I think it's really important to understand that desperation for a lot of people leads them to a place where they will do anything to fix their circumstances, especially for those of us that have children. And I do understand that MAGA was simply desperate for any change. And that is why Democratic Socialists always win elections, because they're addressing the actual problem for the vast majority of people, which is the affordability crisis. And now we're staring down the barrel of another fucking gun. They're going to do this again, and life is going to get more expensive, and there are more tariffs coming, and what are we supposed to do? I am sick to my stomach thinking about all of the Americans that are about to have no health insurance at all. I just don't think that people understand how many Americans are about to lose their lives.
Welcome back to Echo Room Vibes, where we say the quiet parts out loud, not because we're loudmouths, but because the quiet parts are usually where the truth hides. And today, we're diving into America's favorite national pastime, regret. That's right, inflation regret, Trump regret, billionaire tax cut regret. And folks are starting to wake up and say, wait a minute, I thought prices were supposed to go down. Oh, baby, it's going to be a long ride. Credits to the originators and stitches of this video. Do you all remember when Trump was on that campaign trail shouting loud and proud about how immigrants taking all the black jobs and how Americans couldn't afford groceries anymore? Let me play you the clip to remind you how he said it and then you judge by yourself how it's playing out right now.
He caused this inflation. I gave him a country with essentially no inflation. It was perfect. It was so good. All he had to do is leave it alone. He destroyed it with his Green New Scam and all this money that's being thrown out the window. He caused inflation. As sure as you're sitting there, the fact is that his big kill on the black people is the millions of people that he's allowed to come in through the border. They're taking black jobs now. And it could be 18, it could be 19, and even 20 million people. They're taking black jobs, and they're taking Hispanic jobs, and you haven't seen it yet, but you're going to see something that's going to be the worst in our history.
Thank you. President Biden?
What?
There was no inflation when I became president. You know why? The economy was flat on its back. 50% unemployment. He decimated the economy, absolutely decimated the economy.
Yep.
That's why there was no inflation at the time. There were no jobs. We provided thousands of millions of jobs for individuals who are in all communities, including minority communities. We made sure that they have health insurance. We have covered, if the ACA has increased, I made sure that they're $8,000 per person in a family to get written off for the health care. But this
I'm about to show you $10 worth of groceries in America. Bread and eggs, $4.79 and $4.70 something or another. $10 for bread and eggs. Good job.
If the price of shit don't go down, I'm about to start stealing again. I don't give a fuck. I said I was leaving that shit in 2022, but look, if y'all gonna keep making deodorant $15 for a stick, I'm gonna just have to start sticking shit in my purse again. I don't care, because I can't go without deodorant, and y'all know y'all taxing for that shit. Like, come on now, something gotta give. Everything is just too expensive for me. Every single thing. Like, it's to the point I be rationing out for deodorant. I'm only doing 2 swipes a day because I can't afford to do 3 or 4 swipes back and forth, because I'm gonna run out of deodorant too fast. Toothpaste too. And the thing is, you can find cheap shit, but it ain't gonna hold you. I'm not about to buy no cheap ass deodorant and be musty as all day. And I'm about to buy no cheap ass toilet tissue and that shit break while I'm wiping my ass. And I'm not about to buy no cheap ass toothpaste and my breath be stinking after I done brush my teeth. Like, y'all gonna have to give. Like, and then it's like, if you do buy quality shit, it got poison in it, and the stuff that don't have the poison in it is too damn expensive for anybody to afford. Like, this shit is just beyond me. Like, I'm at the point, I'm either about to start stealing shit again, or I'm gonna have to start making my own shit. Y'all, like, the economy gonna have to decide at this point.
Can we talk about inflation for a second? I went for a run, and as you know, have my best thoughts when I was running. And I was thinking about how the other day I went to Larchmont and I ordered a matcha. It was $6.25. And when they punched it in, it said $7.50. And I was like, excuse me, why does it say $7.50 when you punched it in? And she's like, oh yeah, we raised the prices, but we haven't updated the board yet. And I was like, and she said, oh, also if you want almond or oat milk, it's gonna be an additional 75 cents. And I'm like, well, I will not be having that, thank you. I'm not spending $10 on a matcha, which P.S., I don't like that I drink matcha, but coffee gives me anxiety, so I had to switch. I know it's bougie. But anyway, $10, like, with the tax, with the tip, that's insane, insane. And then I went to my local coffee shop, and the same thing happened. I ordered my matcha. It used to be $6, and now it's $7.50. I'm no mathematician, but I think that's like a 25% increase, which is absolutely bonkers. That's way above the 3% cost of living inflation increase. And then I got a book off my shelf, and it was from when I first moved to LA. There was a receipt in there. It was like my first diner breakfast, and I looked at the prices and just compared. An omelet used to be $12, now it's $15. A friend came to town, and I was looking for happy hour drinks because, you know, trying to save some money. And you know how Google Maps has like images? I saw an image of an old menu from 4 years ago. The happy hour beverages were $8. Now they're $12. Can you imagine 4 years ago thinking that $12 was a deal for a happy hour beverage? That's absolutely crazy. So like, what is happening here? Why is everything so much more expensive? Also, my health insurance is an extra $100 a month, so that's $1,200 a year. Like, everything in the last year is so much more expensive, and again, is way beyond the 3 to 6% inflation increase that we should be seeing. So what is going on? Like, how are we supposed to stay afloat?
Okay, so several things here. Absolutely, I do agree that inflation is up way more than what they are telling us, because you see it in the prices. You don't, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to be able to assess how your pocketbook feels after you go to the store or wherever you go and make purchases nowadays. The other thing though is that if you can't afford the extra coffee when you're out, or matcha, or any kind of goodies, just go ahead and make it at home. You're going to save so much more money if you really look at what you're spending every time you go out. This is a really easy way to start cutting back. And I know it's not fun.
So there was some news this week that most people missed, that the revised Q1 GDP growth numbers came out, and the first quarter of this year, we actually shrunk by 0.5%. And since none of these trade deals appear to be happening, including Trump saying he's not going to negotiate with Canada anymore, coupled with the fact that we know that tourism is down and the summer is the best time of year, and there's already photos of flights coming from London to New York that are like barely have any people in them, we are heading into some probably very difficult economic times. And what could potentially push that over the edge is this giant tax giveaway to millionaires and billionaires, which will make this worse because they're going to cut services that poor and working class and middle class families rely on to get through their day. They're not going to be there anymore, and that means they're going to have less money to actually spend because they're not going to be getting much of a tax cut at all because it's all going to the top. And Donald Trump was elected mainly to reduce prices. Where's that? Where are any of the plans or any of the policies to bring prices down? All we have seen is prices go up. It's also telling that the minute that Donald Trump took over, the economy went like this because he's not good at managing it. He manages with chaos, which is bad for markets. He is putting tariffs in place, and all of this this tax bill is going to hurt most people. So now is not the time to pass a massive tax cut, as we're seeing the numbers go down that will only go to millionaires and billionaires who will just put it in their pocket. We need to defeat this bill if we want to keep the economy moving, because right now it's heading in the wrong direction.
Trump supporter from Indianapolis here, and I just want to say that our gas prices are not down. They are higher. Comment and tell me where you're from and tell me if your gas prices are higher or lower. I'm tired of the lies.
Everyone, doesn't matter who you are. It's not just an extra few dollars here and there. It's a lot of money, and it's meat, dairy, your regular produce, even the cheap foods like rice and beans. All of this is going up. Families are really having to choose between having full meals or full tanks of gas sometimes. Seniors are skipping meals. They're skipping fresh food because they say that they can't afford it. Parents are stretching food stamps further than ever before, and people are still coming up short. And it's not just inflation. It's a system that is completely out of touch with what real people are actually living through right now. One thing you can do that I find is pretty helpful if you really kind of want to foresee what you're going to purchase and how much you're going to spend is go on a site like Walmart.com if you're going to shop at Walmart. And there you can add things to your cart as if you're going to order online. And then it'll show you a total at the very end. So if you know that you only want to spend $50, then you can already add what you think you're going to need into that online cart. Make sure it's under $50 and then take a screenshot of that. Go to the store and only get those items. That way you can know right now what the prices should be close to. So that's kind of a hack that some people do and I think can be helpful. And another huge thing is to really focus on buying nutrient-dense foods. So rice, beans, oats, potatoes, foods that really are just going to fuel your body without breaking your budget. And I know white rice may not be a super nutritious food, but it is a great filler food. You can opt for brown rice, which is going to have more nutrients in it. But regardless, you want to look at foods like that you actually need to cook and prepare. It's not just going to be prepackaged. And on that note, if you're not already cooking from scratch, start doing that. You're going to save a lot more money in the long run. It's going to be healthier for your family. Even though it might be a small package of rice and beans, that can be stretched out throughout the week. So it's really beneficial to do that than buy things like minute rice and things that are already prepackaged, ready to go. Now, in terms of food that is ready to eat, I am a big advocate of having things that are prepared in advance, and you can keep that in your pantry. We like to call it like a prepper pantry, where you have items lined up that you do eat that are shelf stable and they can be there for a very long time for your time of need. And that is something that you can do little by little. Definitely build that up. It is like a savings bank for your family in terms of food. And the good thing with that is that you are able to buy it now. It's going to be shelf stable, and eventually the prices of those items are going to go up, and at least you captured it when it was cheaper. You can do the same thing with meats and other things that you want to freeze in your freezer or a deep freezer. Buying things now is going to save you some money because then you can actually capture the price of today and then wait a little while until you need to buy it again. And also buy what's on sale. buy what's in season. There's going to be more savings with that, so definitely do that. It's really easy to, just want to make certain items and then get to the store, pick out those items that are needed for the ingredient list, and then you're going to spend a lot of money. But if you go looking for what is affordable right now, a lot of times it's going to be your basic rice and beans. Carrots are usually really affordable. Onions, bananas, things like that, some jalapeno peppers. There are a lot of certain things that are usually very, very cheap and affordable at the store, so you can save a lot if you're not just trying to get things that you want, but just making sure that you're looking at the price point of these items. Potatoes, obviously, that's another excellent one to include. And also right now might be a great time to cut out more things that are a little bit more like luxury items. So prepackaged items, specialty drinks, things that you don't necessarily need, even though you want. Even if you can cut back on a few of those items, it's going to help your pocket. Maybe instead of spending extra money on energy drinks, you can spend that money on some cans of food and put that up in your pantry. So leave a comment down below. Let me know if you have any tips for when you go grocery shopping or what your grocery shopping bill is looking like these days. And I hope you're doing well as always, and take care. I will see you in the next video.
Morning again, everybody. Our Democracy 2025 here. Today, I think I'm going to start a new series I'm going to call Hard Truths for Americans. And today's topic is minimum wage and wages in general. Let's call it wages. So the United States, when I was became working age, 16 years old, when I could go to work. My first job was actually at a grocery store as a bagger and car loader. The minimum wage at the time was $3.35 an hour. That was 1985, okay? The year that Marty McFly went back to the future, right? So right now, the national set minimum wage is $7.25 an hour. Now that is 40 years, okay? That's essentially a flat line. When you look at the inflation that has occurred from 1985 to 2025 and how much we pay for things, and keep in mind, the average price of, say, a car in 1985 was under $10,000, okay? Average price, actually, is probably around $7,000 or $8,000. Average price for a car, okay? Today it is what, 40,000, something like that. But wages have gone up less than $4 an hour, minimum wage, okay? Which is laughable to even call it minimum wage. No one can live on $7.25. No one can have a basic life on $7.25 an hour in the modern world. By comparison, the wages in China, the average wages in China have quadrupled in that time. Now, and you might say, well, yeah, they had nowhere to go but up. Okay, maybe so. But the point is, societies around the world, many of whom were third world societies in 1985, are now rising and they're kind of replacing the United States for what we once had. Because we're just simply falling behind. $7.25 an hour, up from $3.35 in 40 years. You know what the inflation has been like in this country. If you were here in 1985 and you look at it right now, you've seen it. You know what the difference is. So, I guess my point of this is we're a failing country. We have failed, essentially, and I have no reason to believe that in the next year the dollar will be replaced by some other currency. The rest of the world has moved on, and BRICS will expand. There'll be other nations coming into that, and they're going to leave the United States behind. But, we'll be sure we don't have immigrants. Definitely have that. You have a good day.
The year is 1990. The average annual income for Americans is $35,500 a year. They can buy a brand new car for $14,000. They get a gallon of gas for $1.04. And to purchase a home that year, it's $79,000. Let's fast forward to 2025. The average median income in this country is $74,000. You can buy a car for $53,000. You're going to pay $4 for a gallon of gas, and the average home price is $416,000. I'm no mathematician, and I'm no expert, but boomers had the most beneficial time financial-wise of any generation. And they are generally the quickest to tell you that you're lazy. Kids these days, they're aware of those numbers I just gave you. So if you're Gen X like me, you witnessed how good the boomers have it, and now your kids, our kids, have it like this. We were the generation that scraped by and learned how to do a lot with very little. I don't see a lot of hope for kids these days. Let's remember that when none of them want to work at a fast food joint. Let's remember that.
According to a man named Kevin Hassett, who you've likely never heard of in your entire life, the United States is officially at the lowest inflation that it has experienced in the last 4 years. That's right, folks. We have officially entered our golden age. Now, first went the egg prices, then the gas prices, then the economy went up, or at least the stock market shot up. Now we have the lowest inflation rates we have had in 4 years. Now, here's the spin that you're going to hear from the propaganda machine. They're going to say that this is Biden's economy. I mean, 3 weeks ago, or a couple months back, they were saying that, well, you know, Trump's economy is this terrible economy that we're currently in. And then, of course, we had the tariffs. Oh, well, yeah, this is going to completely erode, destroy our economy, right? And if we felt just a little bit of a fluctuation, there's Trump's economy. But as soon as anything goes well, it's the Democrats. You know, you could just put this one on Obama, right? It's been about 100 years since he's been in office. Just tag him along. This is Obama's economy, not the guy who's actually in office doing things.
Welcome back, fam. Let's rewind for a second. Recently, we saw a viral Stitched video. Shout out to the originator and Stitches, breaking down how the revised Q1 GDP numbers showed the economy shrank by 0.5%. That's right, shrunk, like the jeans you left in the dryer too long. While Trump was out there yelling about how he was going to make America rich again, what actually happened? Growth dipped, deals collapsed, and tariffs started tossing the economy around like it was a pair of discount flip-flops. Now listen, I know, someone out there is already yelling, but Biden? Oh, don't worry. We'll get to Biden too, but let's talk about your man first. Mr. Gold Toilet. Mr. I alone can fix it. Mr. Day one, we're lowering prices. Prices did not lower. They inflated like a gas station turkey sandwich. And the people who voted for him, especially some of y'all who thought this was going to be a discount presidency, are just now realizing they got hustled like it was Black Friday in reverse. So, here's what the video points out. And again, shout out to the creators breaking this down. GDP dipped. Tourism is down. Trade deals, non-existent. Trump literally said he's not negotiating with Canada anymore, because that's apparently how you stimulate the economy. By ghosting your neighbors. And here's the kicker. This same man who ran on the idea of being a business genius is now pushing a tax bill that gives billions, not millions, billions to his wealthy buddies, while cutting programs for poor and working class families. Medicaid, SNAP, gone, just so his donor friends can buy a fourth yacht and name it Trickle Down 2 Electric Boogaloo. But he lowered my taxes. Did he? Or did you get a $200 break while your rent went up $300? Your groceries up $400? Your insulin now costs as much as a used PlayStation. This is what economists call the rich get richer, and the rest of y'all get coupons. Let me break this down like you're 5 years old. If the economy shrinks, if prices rise, if services get slashed, if the average person is paying more for less, that's not economic genius. That's mismanagement. That's I read The Art of the Deal but skipped the chapter on math. And let's be real. Trump doesn't run things. He vibes them. He governs like a DJ at a frat party. Loud, unpredictable, and when it all falls apart, he just blames the last guy on the aux cord. Now, let's talk about those tax cuts. Because here's what Stitch commentary from that video exposed. It's not just bad policy, it's straight up robbery with a red hat on. They're cutting services people actually need to offset tax giveaways for people who already have more money than they can spend. Medicaid? Gone. SNAP? Gone. Housing assistance? Chopped. In exchange for what? A few extra zeros in a hedge funder's Cayman account? This is what happens when a government gets confused and starts thinking the economy is a charity auction for billionaires. The rest of us, we're just here for decoration. Now, I know some of y'all in the comment section are going to be like, well, actually, inflation was worse under Biden. Sure, at one point. But let's be honest, most of those numbers were rebounding from a pandemic. You remember that, right? When Trump said it'd be gone by Easter and then got mad when the virus didn't RSVP? And the moment we see a dip in inflation under Biden, a real statistical dip, Trump's folks are out here going, well, that's just because of Trump's economy. Pick a struggle, y'all. Because guess what? Inflation is a complex global phenomenon. But cutting services, raising tariffs, slashing safety nets, those are choices. That's not inflation. That's sabotage disguised as fiscal responsibility. And let's not even pretend this is about helping working class white folks in diners across Ohio. Nah, this hits everybody. Poor black families in Mississippi, Latino families in Texas, elderly folks in nursing homes, single parents, veterans, kids. All so a billionaire can avoid paying taxes on his second helicopter. And the media, whew, they're too busy covering Trump's court dates to even explain this bill. Meanwhile, the working class is watching their grocery bills rise, their clinics close, and their wages stay frozen like it's a budget sequel to Frozen, except this one stars Mitch McConnell instead of Elsa. Now, credit where it's due. The Stitch video was right. If you pass a tax bill that balloons the deficit, slashes public services, and rewards the ultra-wealthy for doing nothing, that's not leadership. That's looting. But the good news, you're not powerless. You can vote. You can call your reps. You can stop treating elections like reality TV and start demanding policy that actually helps people. Because right now, we're all watching a rerun of The Apprentice, Government Shutdown Edition. And spoiler alert, the economy isn't fired. We are. From Echo Room Vibes, peace out.